Guys, you ever move to what looks like the perfect quiet American suburb, thinking you're finally escaping drama, only to realize you just walked straight into a Karen police state where your grass length is apparently a federal offense? Yeah, buckle up. This one's gonna make you laugh while your blood boils. Meet Natalie Campbell, ex-manager, the kind of woman who could organize a freight convoy in a blizzard but somehow always ended up being the family ATM. She'd just taken a new job at Kestrel Grid Logistics in Ridgeview, Colorado, and rented a cute little two-bedroom in Mountain View Estates, the HOA-governed paradise where community standards meant Karen's personal dictatorship. The move was supposed to be her clean break. No more toxic boss micromanaging her spreadsheets. No more family sucking her dry with just a few hundred till Friday texts. Just her some boxes labeled kitchen miscellaneous, and the sweet silence of nobody needing anything from her. Or so she thought. 3 days in, the silence was already louder than the ancient fridge. 72 hours. Not from Mom Teresa, who used to call every 2 weeks begging for root canal money. Not from little sister Brianna and her slick lawyer husband Gavin, who lived 2 neighborhoods over in their McMansion and never missed a chance to remind Natalie that moving boxes around wasn't a real career. The last message she'd ever gotten from Brianna was 3 weeks earlier. Hey, still got that streaming password for Gavin's parents? She'd paid, of course. Because that's what made her valuable, right? Then came the hailstorm, filling the cheap aluminum windows like machine gun fire. Natalie was rubbing her knees on that beige industrial carpet when the doorbell rang. Sharp, metallic, completely unexpected. Nobody knew this address yet. Nearly dropped her coffee. Standing in the fluorescent hallway, unbothered by the storm, was a tiny rail-thin woman with perfect silver hair and that signature lavender scent. Evelyn March. The woman the family had spent decades calling cold-hearted and distant. The ghost who sent birthday checks via secretary and never once showed up when Natalie was drowning in their manufactured debt. Evelyn didn't say hello. An imaginary speck off her cardigan and pulled a single brass key from her pocket. Old-fashioned, heavy, with a numbered tag. You'll need this before it all blows up, she said, voice crisp as the hail outside. Natalie stared.
Grandma, what?
Your mother, your sister, and that smug son-in-law of hers have already filed paperwork to have me declared mentally incompetent. They want control of everything I own, including every rental property I still hold in this very neighborhood. Evelyn's pale blue eyes scanned the half-unpacked boxes. They think you're irrelevant, too broke, and too far away to notice. They're wrong. She handed over the key like it was nothing. Commonwealth Ridgeview Bank, main branch. Tomorrow. Safe deposit box M47. Ask for the secure vault. And just like that, she was gone into the storm, leaving Natalie clutching cold brass and the sinking feeling that her fresh start had just been positioned like a pawn on a much bigger board. The next morning, Natalie didn't go to work. She stood in the marble lobby of that bank in her jeans and work jacket, feeling like the poorest person in the room. But when she said box M47, the officer didn't blink. Dual key system. Evelyn had prepped everything years ago. Inside the private viewing room sat a heavy metal drawer. No cash. Just paper, a black USB drive, an old leather ledger, and a thick notarized document bound in blue ribbon. On top, a single sheet in Evelyn's sharp handwriting. Natalie, I won't be able to say this in person. Teresa has started forced conservatorship proceedings. They've lied to a judge. No. They believe you're the family failure. That is your greatest weapon. Natalie's hand shook as she opened the moss green folder. March Harbor LLC, Evelyn's real estate empire. 70% ownership. And yes, multiple residential properties right here in Mountain View Estates. The very neighborhood Karen ruled with an iron clipboard. Tucked inside was the conditional durable power of attorney. It stayed dormant until the exact second an involuntary conservatorship petition was filed against Evelyn. The moment Gavin Pierce filed that paperwork, this document woke up like a legal landmine. The ledger was worse. Evelyn had secretly made to Teresa over the years, tens of thousands, while Teresa was simultaneously draining Natalie dry with the same sad stories. They played both women against each other, keeping them broke and separated. Natalie's anger went cold and clean. She plugged in the USB on her laptop later that afternoon in a quiet coffee shop. Password-protected audio files, private investigator recordings, 6 phone calls between Brianna and Gavin, and a 7th voice that made her stomach drop. The HOA president herself, laughing on speakerphone about how the old bat can't even keep her lawn at regulation height, perfect ammunition for the incompetent hearing. Karen bragging about how she'd already started issuing selective violations on Evelyn's properties to pressure a quick sale. How Gavin's shell company would buy them at a steal once Evelyn was locked away in assisted living. Can you believe this crap, guys? The same Karen who'd already slapped Natalie with her first $250 fine the day she moved in for unsightly moving boxes visible from the street longer than 48 hours. Yeah, was in on the family heist. Natalie closed the laptop. The unglamorous utility everyone drained was officially over. She wasn't the family failure anymore. She was the contingency plan. That afternoon, Natalie didn't go home. She went hunting for the right shark. She skipped every glossy firm with marble lobbies and found Nora Whitlow, elder law specialist, contested conservatorship, fiduciary misconduct. Website so plain it looked like it was made in 2003. Perfect. Nora's office smelled like old binders and zero nonsense. She listened to the whole story without interrupting, then leaned forward. This conditional POA is ironclad. It's already active. Before they even plugged it in, Nora had her paralegal image the drive with write blockers, run essay to 256 hash, and send a notarized preservation notice to opposing counsel. Chain of custody, so tight you could drive a semi through it and nothing would break. Then they started digging. Credit reports. In 4 months, all from Gavin's firm, Pearson Holloway, under false pretenses. Illegal. Permit. County Recorder's Office. Filed yesterday afternoon against one of Evelyn's office parks, creditor listed as Maple Anchor LLC. Signing attorney? Gavin Pierce. Using a shell company to cloud title on his own mother-in-law's asset before the first hearing. Classic. Nora smiled that thin, dangerous smile. We're not just objecting to conservatorship. We're filing a temporary restraining order against all 3 of them, and against Karen as co-conspirator for abuse of HOA authority. Natalie's phone buzzed. She put it on speaker for Nora.
I think we have a breach.
Oh my God, Nat. How's the new place? Listen, Gavin and I are throwing a tiny housewarming this Saturday at our Maple Crest place. Mom's coming. If you did too. We're just trying to get some family paperwork organized while Mom's still with it. The hook. Signed while Evelyn was supposedly confused. Nora's eyes lit up. We record everything now. Natalie played dumb. Send the address. After the call ended, Nora leaned back. They're going to try to get you both to sign something that legitimizes the petition. They have no idea you hold the PA. They have no idea I exist. Back at the apartment that night, Evelyn was already waiting on the second-hand sofa like she'd always belonged there. No drama. Just quiet competence. Natalie laid out the plan. Good. The next 2 days were pure logistics. Natalie used the active POA to open a new sub-trust account and temporarily transfer Evelyn's 70% voting interest into it, corporate safe room. Gavin could lean whatever he wanted. The entity he was suing now answered only to Natalie. She hired a forensic auditor. Full 10-day review, touching Maple Anchor LLC and Karen's HOA accounts. Then she opened a spreadsheet, the same kind she used to track freight tonnage. This one tracked every payment she'd ever made to the family, every dismissive comment about her dead-end job, every secret payment Evelyn had made, every illegal credit pull, every HOA violation Karen had issued with suspicious timing. The pattern was sickening. Meanwhile, Karen was already escalating in the neighborhood. Natalie got cited for excessive holiday lights still up past February 15th, even though it was March 1st, and she hadn't even unpacked decorations. Another $150. Then a warning letter about her non-regulation mailbox color. Karen personally delivered it, clipboard in one hand, fake smile plastered on a round, heavily made-up face. "Oh, Natalie dear, we just want everything to look uniform for the property values. You understand." Natalie smiled back, sweet as poison. "Absolutely, Karen." Inside, she was already recording every word on the hidden app Nora had installed. Saturday arrived, the trap party. Natalie drove to Maple Crest wearing the same jeans and work jacket she'd worn to the bank. No armor. I've in her pocket and Nora on speed dial. The house was ridiculous. White and gold everything. Exactly the kind of place that screamed, "We're better than you." Teresa was already there, fluttering around like the stressed-out hostess she always became when money was on the line. Brianna hugged her too tight. Less. Karen was there too. Dressed in a bright magenta power suit that strained at the seams, pearls gleaming, looking every inch the HOA tyrant who believed her clipboard gave her royal authority. They tried to play it casual. Gavin slid the papers across the coffee table. Just some simple medical release stuff for Mom. You know how these things go when someone's getting older. Evelyn sat perfectly still. Natalie leaned forward, voice calm. "Before we sign anything, Karen, quick question. How many times have you personally issued violations on my grandmother's properties in the last 6 months?" Karen blinked. Natalie kept going. "Did you pull Evelyn's credit report under false pretenses?" 6, 7. Brianna's fake smile cracked. Teresa's wine glass trembled. Natalie slid her phone across the table, screen facing up. The audio was already playing, Karen's own voice from the USB. "Once we get the old bat declared incompetent, we can force the sale of those rentals and split the profit nice and quiet." Karen turned purple. "I'll have you fined for." Nora walked in at that exact moment, process server right behind her. "Actually, Karen, the only illegal activity here is yours. Temporary restraining order for all 4 of you. And this," she dropped a thick packet on the coffee table, "is our motion to remove you as HOA president pending investigation for embezzlement of association funds, selective enforcement, and conspiracy to commit elder financial abuse." The server handed Karen her copy. She looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. Gavin started sputtering about lawsuits. Natalie just smiled. "You wanted a signing party. You just signed your own termination papers." The fallout was beautiful. Justice porn. Monday morning, the county recorder's office was busy reversing every fraudulent lien Karen and Gavin had filed. The state bar opened an ethics investigation on Gavin the same day. Karen's HOA board called an emergency meeting, which Natalie attended holding Evelyn's proxy and the active POA. You should have seen Karen's face when Natalie stood up and calmly read the forensic auditor's preliminary findings. Over $180,000 in HOA dues redirected into Karen's personal accounts over 2 years, disguised as administrative consulting fees paid to Maple Anchor LLC. The same shell company Gavin used. The board, a bunch of terrified retirees who'd been afraid to cross Karen for years, voted her out on the spot. She tried to scream about due process while security escorted her out. Clipboard still clutched like a security blanket. Natalie didn't stop there. Full forensic audit of every HOA-managed property Evelyn still owned. Then she went deeper, the second safe deposit box, S9, the one that contained the North Star Solutions agreement. Turns out Evelyn's late husband had built a silent 15% minority stake into the LLC with an automatic trigger. The moment a hostile conservatorship attempt was proven fraudulent, the full 85% controlling interest consolidated under Natalie. She walked out of that bank the new acting chairwoman of March Harbor LLC, which, surprise, included majority ownership of several key lots inside Mountain View Estates itself. The petty fines stopped overnight. Residents who'd been terrorized by Karen started sending Natalie quiet thank you notes. One elderly couple brought her homemade cookies and whispered, "We never thought anyone would stand up to her." The final hearing was almost anticlimactic. Teresa showed up looking 10 years older, hands shaking as she read her court-ordered statement admitting the spending addiction, the coercion, the years of playing both daughters against each other. Brianna sat beside her, makeup less and small, nodding like a broken doll. Gavin wasn't there, by the bar and his assets frozen. The judge signed off on everything. Conservatorship petition dismissed with prejudice, restraining orders made permanent, criminal referrals to the DA for elder financial abuse. Outside the courthouse, Teresa tried one last desperate hug. Natalie stepped back. "Mom, forgiveness isn't on the table. The DA has the evidence. Or a defendant." She left Teresa standing on the steps. Back in her apartment, the same one Karen had tried to find into oblivion, Natalie sat with Evelyn over minestrone soup. The older woman finally spoke. "You didn't run. You showed up. That's why I chose you." Natalie looked at the brass key still sitting on the coffee table. Shield. Listen. 2 weeks later, Natalie called the first official shareholders meeting of March Harbor LLC in a modest, well-lit conference room. No marble, no ego. The motion on the table: take direct control of all residential holdings previously mismanaged by the old firm. New boiler systems. Full safety audits. Zero rent increases for current tenants for 18 months. Priority repairs for families and elderly residents. She looked around the table at the minority shareholders, the retired couple who'd known her grandfather. "This company will no longer profit from neglect. We profit by giving people decent homes." The motion passed 85 to 15. Later that evening, Natalie stood on her own balcony overlooking the neighborhood she now helped run. Karen's old uniformity signs had already been quietly removed. Lawns were still green, but nobody was measuring them with a ruler anymore. She pulled out her phone and typed one last message to the old group chat that had ghosted her the day she moved. "I've been fine for a long time." Then she blocked the notifications and muted the chat forever. The knot in her chest that had lived there her entire adult life finally loosened. Family isn't blood. It's boundaries. It's choosing to fix broken systems instead of bleeding them dry. Natalie Campbell, former paper pusher, current chairwoman, and the woman who took down the most ridiculous HOA tyrant in Colorado, smiled into the quiet suburban night. Her work was just beginning. Thanks for listening, guys. Where are you watching from? Have you ever dealt with your own neighborhood Karen? Hit subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there and measure your own damn grass.